Hey, how's it going everyone? Justin again, as always. Thanks for watching my channel. Welcome back. Today's topic is, do you have to go to community college or tech school to be an automotive mechanic or technician? The short answer is no, you do not. A lot of places or establishments, as I said in previous videos, will actually train you along the way or send you to dealership specific training along the way and get you geared up towards a certain path, and they will actually fit you into the shop as they seem fit or where they actually need somebody in a specific area. So they'll judge your skill set, they'll see what your capabilities are, and then from there they'll start placing you in various areas, whether it's going to be diagnostics, heavy line, small engine repair, or lube tech. So end state, no, you do not need to have community college or tech school to get started or even get your foot in the door. In the grand scheme of things, talking about community college and tech school, other ways that you can get involved in automotive mechanics that would aid that decision-making process as whether or not the dealership or independent shop will hire you, might be to spend some time at a lube shop. I spent 2 years at a tire lube center for Sears Auto Center up in Albany, Oregon, and that helped me a great deal. Learned alignments, brakes, flushes, small engine repair, light amount of diagnostics. By that I mean we pulled engine codes and checked to see if monitors ran and things like that. Though emissions was not a big deal, there were some people that were concerned about the check engine light being on, and we would end up testing it and then replacing it and then verifying that the monitors were set, especially if they lived out of state and they were only in state for a short period of time. So you're going to learn a lot of things when you're working for a lube tire shop or the dealership or an independent shop. Like I said, you will be taught. But talking about community college and tech school for a little bit, I've said in past videos, and I'll say it again, going to community college and entering an automotive program was probably one of the best things that I could have decided to do as a young man. Getting back from my second tour of duty over in Iraq, I really had not the strongest idea of what it was that I wanted to do, or at least my options were very limited at the community college and the major university that surrounded me. So my limitations as far as what it was that I was able to do and what it was that I was capable of doing were two different things, and there wasn't very many options, at least not that I saw, for what it was that I wanted to do for a living. Some of the things that I wouldn't have mind doing for a profession, I really wanted to be a commercialized pilot, but that's an expensive adventure for sure. Knowing that, I thought about going into film, or at least film study, but one of the more prestigious schools at the time that I was looking at, Brooks Institute of Technology, was a little bit out of my budget as far as being able to uproot my, at that point, family to go down to Southern California to try out film school and see how that was going to work out for a 3.5-year program. So instead I decided to go with option B. Option B was going into automotive mechanics. I had some mechanical background, was an outside machinist for Northrop Grumman out in Newport News, Virginia, and I had gotten that position through a mutual friend that I had known from in the area when I was on active duty Navy, and he kind of got me a spot in. So I worked there for about 6 months before transferring with the National Guard back to the West Coast. So having that mechanical background got me more involved in DIY projects on my own vehicle. Taking certain lessons taught and learned along the way, especially with taking my car to a dealership and realizing real quick how expensive that could be, and seeing how much money I could save fixing it myself was a huge plus. Now at that point in time, YouTube wasn't real big at that point. It was more, MySpace was still there. Facebook was just coming out. YouTube really wasn't a big thing at that point. There wasn't nearly a lot of people on there doing any kind of DIY videos or anything like that. So the best that you had was Google Images, and that was pretty much it. So if I needed a wiring diagram or a mechanical spec, I had to read forums, and I had to go onto Google Images and look for pictures of wiring diagrams or mechanical displays, blueprints, if you will. So that was pretty much my limitations as a DIYer at that point. Nowadays we have YouTube, and YouTube's great. It's not the be-all end-all, but it definitely helps, and there's a lot of really smart and intelligent guys out there doing repair videos, doing diagnostic videos, and showing you guys how to properly diagnose or repair a vehicle. So that's cool. That's a huge benefit to you guys. But going to community college was my benefit. That was pretty much my YouTube at that point in time, was going to community college and learning how to be a mechanic. Now, I met a cool cat there, and him and I hit it off real quick. He was a dirt track racer at Willamette Speedway. So he was involved in race car builds and muscle cars. He had a brother that lived just up the road, and he had his own business, his own side work, mechanical business, working on cars on the side. So every day after school, after college got out, we would go over to his brother's house and we would start wrenching on cars. And then I had a part-time job at that point at Sears Auto Center, and I was wrenching there part-time, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then during the week I was in school full-time, and then I was working on cars in the evening. And then after my first 6 months of being involved in community college, him and I had discussed, because he had already had a mobile mechanic business going on, and his brother had a drop-off thing going on, and I told him I wanted to kind of get into that. I wanted to learn how to start my own business because I wanted to be a mechanic, and I wanted to start off somewhere. So I thought I'd start building a customer clientele or resume kind of thing, and I started getting my name out there and started hustling and fixing cars. And with him in my back pocket, he had like 25, almost 30 years experience. So we just started going to town, and I opened up my own business for a mobile mechanic, and I think we called it Wrench Masters LLC. So I thought it was pretty awesome. He was an ASE certified master tech, and he was going to community college to obtain that degree. One of those things, one of those life goals, I guess, just have something that shows that you did it. I don't know, get some more credentials under the belt. So he really wanted to get that degree, and so that was what his goal was. And my goal was to learn this mechanical trade and to be really involved in it and start my own business. So I started tackling it. I did use I had the Montgomery GI Bill. I did switch it over to the post 9/11 GI Bill, which is a great program. They offer you BAH, or basic allowance for housing, which help pay for any place that you're renting in town up to a certain amount. And then I took out student loans because, as we all know, as veterans and people that have gone to school that are ex-military or what have you, the government doesn't like to pay on time, and that could hinder you from starting your next term. So what I did was I took out student loans to compensate for that delayment in payment, and once it was paid, then of course I was reimbursed. I could have done a lot of things and been a little bit smarter with my money for sure. But at that point, I was married, we had a kid, we wanted nicer things, nicer house. I wanted to start my own business. I started, flipping cars. I was in bigger houses. We had a, double garage. We had a few acres in the back. We had boats, race cars, trucks. I mean, we were loaded, and it was great, and it was a good feeling. Divorces are devastating, though. Anyone that's gone through them knows that divorces can be devastating, especially financially. So I ended up selling out of a lot of stuff. I got rid of a lot of equipment. I got rid of my bow, everything else. And I narrowed it all down to a truck and trailer. And from the time that I completed my 2-year program at that community college, I decided to head down south after the divorce and go to Brooks Institute of Technology to get into film school. Because I was a little bit more freed up then. You know what I mean? I was divorced, I was single. At that point, I had nothing holding me back, and I had no ties. So I left in my truck and trailer and headed for the coast. And when I got there, all the promises and all the things that I was promised and lodging and everything else, it just went straight downhill. They didn't have anything set up for me like they said they did. The cost of living was extremely high. The amount of tuition that I would need every 4 months was extremely high, higher than what financial aid would have covered, and I was running out of post 9/11 GI Bill. So what I decided to do was head back home and down to the lower desert, and I started to go to work for Ford. and I worked there for about 4 months. Had I was butting heads with the service writer a little bit, which I think led to my temporary suspension. And when I had taken my toolbox away from the shop, they took that as me quitting. So I took a 1-year break from, about a year and a half break from turning wrenches before I got involved with the Chrysler dealership. And from there, I was there for 3 years and went to a lot of training, a lot of paid training with Chrysler. Learned a lot of ins and outs of the Chrysler product line. Learned more about special tools, especially for Chrysler products. Learned what I could and could not get away with as far as taking things apart or putting them back together without necessarily having that special tool, because we had 2 shops and that tool was never at the same shop any given day you needed it. So we were pretty limited in that, and it just kept going back and forth, or somebody else would be using it and it'd be tied up for the day or something like that. So that's kind of my background a little bit, to kind of reiterate or share with those of you that are new to the channel some of the things that I went through, going through college, going through dealership training, starting at a lube tech shop. I believe I did it the right way. And I'm not saying it's the way for everybody, but it was the right way for me. I think starting off at a lube tire shop, going to community college, getting in with somebody that had been doing it professionally for, like I said, about 25, 30 years, and learning from them every single day after school, to working at Ford for a short period, to even going to work for Chrysler and now being at the independent shop. I learned a lot very quickly over a very short period of time. I'm still learning. And anybody in this trade can tell you that you're never gonna not learn something new every single day. There's always gonna be a new hiccup, a new step, a special tool, something that you're gonna learn every single day in this trade, a new technology that comes out with the cars, a new software that needs to be imprinted, special updates on, vehicle control modules and things like that. So the end state to this will be the same as the intro to this, which is, do you have to go to community college or tech school in order to become an automotive mechanic or technician? No, you most certainly do not, but it sure did help. Thanks as always for watching. Cheers to those of you that have your beers. For me, I just got done working out, so I'm drinking a little bit of water. My body needs it. Thanks as always for watching. We'll see you guys next time.